go closer to the day that is dedicated to celebrate women across the world. That's Saturday, right? What we're going to be doing basically is honoring the incredible achievement, highlighting the challenges and the aspirations of women across the globe. My name is Sage once again. This is Mainland 98.3 FM, and as earlier introduced, you are listening to the Situation Room on Mainland 98.3 FM. I told you that today is a special edition because all the programs we've been having all throughout the course of the day, since Monday actually, have been programs that sort of highlight the celebration of Women's Day, and we want to, via the programs that we have on radio, talk to you or draw your attention to issues that pertain to women. So today on the program, as we move along, you would realize that we're taking advantage of the unfortunate events that have played out over the course of the week to talk about important issues that we have overlooked for such a long time, and we're delving into pressing issues that affect women, from their fight for equal right representation to the ongoing struggles against gender-based violence and discrimination. And this year, the theme for International Women's Day sort of centers on resilience and empowerment. They're calling it accelerated action, which means that it's enough talk. It's time for us to begin to act and do something about the problems. We're going to shine the spotlight on the remarkable stories of women who are breaking barriers and actually reshaping our world, whilst also talking about those who want to do that very same thing, but they are held back by stumbling blocks and challenges that society has put in their way. Now, across the globe, women have been fighting for their rightful seats at the political table, but somehow this journey has become very arduous. It's oftentimes very challenging, to be honest. So we're going to peel back the layers of representation, right? Examining, we're not just going to talk about the perception of women in politics, but what we're going to do is highlight the stark reality that shapes their experiences. And I'm not one to compare, but in Western countries, though they're imperfect in their own ways, we've seen significant strides towards gender parity. We've seen women holding prominent position, from parliament to presidential office to head of agencies, and the statistics kind of paint a hopeful picture. You know, countries like Sweden, like Norway, like Spain, like New Zealand, they boast of impressive representation in politics. They show that the perception of women's role is gradually evolving and is still beneath the surface, but we can say that Western countries have done well for themselves when it comes to including women in the decision-making process. But when we turn our focus to Africa, a continent that is rich in diversity, but it's still very, very marred by, systemic barriers that inhibit women's political engagement. In Nigeria, for example, the representation of women in government is very low. Very, very, very low. I'll give you the figures as we proceed with the conversation. Despite the country's constitution that advocates for gender equality, there's still some sort of perception that is tied to cultural norms, maybe even societal expectations of women, and it just stifles women's voices and their ability to influence decision making. So that's why we're going to be engaging with an expert this evening on the Situation Room. I would call her an activist as well. And together we're going to do what we can to uncover the differences and the many similarities between the perception and the undeniable truth of women's representation in politics. Are we really making progress, or are women, are they just simply even trying to reclaim spaces that have always meant to be theirs? We would have answers to all these questions and more as we progress with the conversation. Please, let's take a very, very short break as we attempt to establish connection with my guest who will be joining us via the phone, and then we kickstart the conversation for this evening on the Situation Room. Women representation in politics, perception and truth. That is what we're talking about. I'm Sage Babalola once again. The promise is to be an interesting conversation. Stick around. By the time I reconnect, you'll be hearing the voice of my guest, Joyce Daniels, a public affairs analyst and also an activist, like I like to call her, as we talk about how much representation women have when it comes to decision-making or national issues, what the problems are, and how to fix these problems. Don't go anywhere.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday, the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Ʀᴏ Akínyòdé as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial mainland 98.3 FM. We'll welcome you roommates as we discuss the situations.
And we're back. Welcome to the Situation Room once again. Before we went on that break, I tried to lay the foundation for the conversation we'll be having this evening on the program, talking about representation of women when it comes to politics in Nigeria, the perception that we have of this phenomenon and what the truth actually is. Of course, as you would like to guess, this is in commemoration of International Women's Day. It's still Saturday, but this week is a week that gives us an opportunity to really bring to the fore issues that affect women. I mean, we did listen to Midweek Politics with Okpeyemi Akínyòdé, Victor Achibong, and Saheed Fuhad, and how they have dissected these issues, what is right, what is wrong, or at least what is believed to be the truth, and how matters that concern women and their rights are being handled by those at the helm of affairs. And so think of this as an extension of that conversation, and I'm pleased to have joined me this evening via the phone Joyce Daniels. I think of her as a public affairs analyst. She's something of an activist by her actions, and how she really is a model for how much strength women can exhibit if given an opportunity to do so. So we're going to talk to her today and answer the burning questions regarding this particular issue. Good evening, ma'am. It's a pleasure to talk to you once again.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Sage. I'm so sorry I couldn't come into the station.
Oh, no, it's okay. Regardless, I believe we will still have a beautiful program conversation as quickly as we can. So let me start like this. I would like to provide you with some information, and then I ask that you please indulge me. I would mention countries and give you figures and explain what these figures are. Rwanda, 61.3%. Sweden, 47%. Spain, 43%. New Zealand, 39%. Norway, 40%. These aren't random numbers, and they're not random countries. It's the percentage of female presence. Vignes, I struggle with her last name, so I'll just call her by her first name. First female president ever. Iceland pioneered it. A small country, but they did kickstart something remarkable. I now give you Nigeria, 3.9%. That is how much representation that we have. Please don't.
Why? Sage, we've had a conversation very similar to this. One, it is still very much ingrained in certain large number of Nigerians. People will oppose the leadership of a woman very easily. That's one. Two, the high cost of politics in Nigeria challenges women who are already economically less empowered to run for same office. So you see, it's a double-edged challenge. I'll leave it there for now.
Let's talk about some of the metrics that have been used to gauge women's ability to have. Women are too unstable. Hormonal fluctuations influence their ability to reason. And this is me quoting words from prominent men. I choose to not mention their name honestly. They would start crying at meetings of world leaders if they don't have their way. I've heard one too many times. If women become presidents of nation, they will start a war every month when they menstruate. These are words of men. A very distasteful joke, I should add, because at least 97% of all the ongoing wars and global unrest that are happening right now are going on between countries that are led by men. So I don't know where the evidence is, but yeah. Why has there been a demonization of emotions, first of all? And is there really any empirical evidence that supports women's propensity to emotion as a trait that keeps us disadvantaged when it comes to conversations of leadership? And I should point that anger is an emotion, but it's not necessarily women who exhibit anger. The tears, the vulnerability that women exhibit is something that is considered a disadvantage, and why women is believed not to be trusted with sensitive information like leadership. Why is there a demonization of emotions when even men exhibit emotions, just not in the same way that women do?
It's a gross miseducation of men, unfortunately. It's just a gross miseducation of men and the women who propose the same notions. I agree with everything you said. You've answered the question already. Emotions and cries because she's so infuriated, she's not able to shout and scream, but rather she cries to douse her anger. Then it's seen as weakness. Whereas a man might shout, punch a wall, hit somebody, stab somebody, and that happens a lot. Then we don't have any challenge with that. So I agree with you. You've said it all.
So over time, there's been attempts to, via bills and legislation, give women a chance, right? I reckon reading, but we never heard anything about that. Mind you, in 2022, the National Assembly rejected 5 proposed gender equality bills, including one that would reserve 35% of political seats for women. There was something of a protest at that time. Women protested for a while, but they were called to the table to negotiate, and we still did not see anything at the end of the day. So I ask, bills like that, can we ensure monitoring of bills like this one? And how effective would this quota system be, such that women who take this reserved seats, say for example, they're able to successfully see to it that 35% of seats are reserved exclusively for women? How are we going to ensure that women who take this reserved seats will not be made to feel inadequate with side comments like, you're only here because we let you?
We can't control any of it, unfortunately. That's the truth. Right now, there are all sorts of different levels of discrimination, even within the National Assembly, that are not gender-based. For example, 7 months later, you come into the House. Guess what? You're discriminated against as you are a newcomer, and you're told to sit in some corner. So you see, that's already some level of discrimination. That act like this, see you and I talking about this, people listening over the radio, can over time maybe reduce it? Elimination, I'm not so sure. But what do I recommend? We continue to talk about it. If women do win affirmative seats someday in Nigeria, when the conversations like this between you and I and other women on several public platforms take place, then we would help reinforce the importance of the women being in those seats and not being brought down because they were given special privileges. It's a conversation that would continue. We'll just keep going. We keep talking about it until hopefully someday it happens.
I want you to talk to us about your own personal experiences. I know that you're not necessarily holding any national position per se, but I'm pretty certain that you found yourself in spaces that have forced you to try to understand the thought process of people, right? Are there any personal experiences of yours that you can share that has shaped your view on why women are viewed the way they are viewed, why women are thought to be less than, especially when it comes to making national decisions? Is there something that happened, an experience that you saw that made you sit down and think, oh wow, it is really bad, and we have a long way to go if we're ever going to see a Nigeria where women are considered important enough to make decisions?
In my case, a few times, some men said to me directly and indirectly, many times women who get into politics are loose women. They said. And then I pointed, I said, see my husband standing right by me. And then the change occurred. Oh, it's real. And it's unfortunate. It is sad because it did not increase my intelligence or my capacity to deliver as a leader, it only satisfied the what word do we call it now? The once again miseducation of people, that it is only a woman who has a man who is married that would have capacity to even try to speak about leading. It's a miseducation once again. It's unfair, but guess what? It is carried through not only by men, but by women. Many women say, that one, she won't go run, she won't go do office. I beg, she don't take care of her husband and her children finish. Wait till they go find for outside. And that question always comes up. Madam, you want to run for office. Who is going to take care of your husband when you're gone? And I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? But it's real. I am very sure, I can almost bet you that someone will call in onto your show at some point and say, yes, so I don't support women running for office. They should stay at home and take care of the children because that's their role in life. Ask me where they got that from.
I'm glad that you raised the conversation around how women also seem to be something of a catalyst in this marginalization that we see when it comes to giving women opportunities to do great things within the political landscape. I mean, we do have a story that's currently ongoing. Senator Natasha Akpoti, who is accusing the Senate president of sexual harassment. Emphasis on it's an accusation, and she submitted an official petition at the National Assembly this afternoon. But when she made the informal complaint on television, there's been a lot of reactions, and entitled to their opinion. It's just sometimes when something is said, the speaker is sometimes it makes your interpretation of what has been said to be more intense. It's deeper when you look at the person who say that thing. I would like us to take a listen to what Itagiwa, former senator, has said about this particular issue. And today I tried very hard not to quote her so that we're not accused of exacerbating the issue, which is why I want people to hear for themselves. And so we cannot talk about how sometimes the positions that we take as women might be a disadvantage to the fight for chances that we want to give women in politics. So let's take a listen to this and then we continue the conversation.
But by the time you contest election and get to Senate, by the time you go there and start, you have passed that. You go there, so you are all equal in that Senate.
So really, so
yes,
if somebody
you are all equal.
it's
out of order. And again, it shows weakness. You don't allow it.
So is it a show of weakness for a woman to speak out?
It cannot happen. You are not there as a man or woman. You are there as a person. It doesn't matter what you are carrying between
but she's
whatever.
Complaining
you
that there's no equality.
You are there. And then, mind you,
I
don't think at this stage of, I respect that girl. I like her. She's very intelligent, very, very well spoken. You understand? But I do not think that the person you call sir, because first of all, if you call somebody sir, then you are giving the person a cane to whip you.
Let us do the right thing. The point we are trying to draw home here is that this is a complete falsehood. This is an attempt to discredit the Senate president. And this is not the first time. Just give me some time. This is not the first time this woman is doing this. This is a woman that have accused Yahaya Bello of sexual harassment. This is the same woman that have accused the... I'm coming. Allow me to flow. Allow me to flow.
Okay.
This is the same woman that accused ⴛ the former media aide to Jonathan, of sexual harassment. This is a woman I saw in a video yesterday accusing a minister of sexual harassment. Are you the only woman in Nigeria, Senator Natasha? What is wrong with you?
Oh, your mic.
But Senator
okay, 1 second.
This is madness.
Senator Webber, just because
Nigerian women should rise against it. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Senator Natasha is spoiling game for Nigerian women trying to enter politics because nobody will vote for a woman. No, I'm telling you, if women can behave this way, then that is danger.
Well, that's a generalization. That's a generalization.
And I have my points.
Senator Wimbo, that's a generalization.
In this latent provocation, you accuse it. You want to sexually harass me. Who are you?
All right.
A mother of 6.
She's a woman.
A mother of 6 from
and
different men. Without going to her character, this is a mother of 6 from different men.
All right, there's
I don't think that Akarata is not questionable.
All right, Mr.
Sexual allegations don't have anything to do with the marital status or the number of children she has.
I'm telling you, it's business.
Let me ask you the next question.
I'm going to her character. We have to change.
But this is misogyny here.
Yeah, I'm telling you the truth.
Can we ask you the next question?
Go ahead, I'm here for you.
Whew, okay.
Hi, ma'am. I decided to just take that opportunity to play to stand by so that you can, put your analysis together in one. So we have Miss Itagiwa who says, well, it's a certain level you get to, right, in your career. For example, when you get to the Senate, you are seen as equal, where harassment can happen. And then we have the deputy chief whip also at the Senate who says, well, are you the only woman? You've accused a number of men of harassment. Are you the only one? Right? And he says further that you're spoiling game for other women. More like the fact that men now feel they have to walk around eggshells when they're dealing with women in politics is why in the future, women might not get a lot of opportunities this is going to have moving forward.
Well, first of all, if you look through the comments on those platforms, especially on YouTube, where you got some of these from, you would see the majority, or well, you would see where the minds of the majority of Nigerians who watch these videos are. A lot of Nigerians who watched both interviews felt those two people were misguided, miseducated completely. The gentleman who spoke
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I'm so information, and possibly telling us where his mind is as well. I don't believe that that man is one who will support women to run for office, because everything he said just clearly, showed that. But let's put that aside. Senator Itagiwa, same. To say that when you get to a certain level in life, you are now above sexual harassment, it shows your own level of ignorance and miseducation. Or you are not acknowledging the fact that women go through these things. And she said, I will show you how to avoid it.
Yeah. Be
Are
confident.
you serious?
It says be
And
unapproachable.
then there's someone about the women who are being raped by their own husbands in their homes. She said that's a totally different matter. And I'm like, how? Harassment is harassment. And I didn't watch the interview to the end because I couldn't stomach it. Even if, let's get to the bottom of the investigation before we say what herself and her claim should be discarded. That's my stand.
But then I want us to look further into this spoiling game, right? And that's why I asked for what ripple effect is going to have. Now, even if, like you said, at the end of the day, they settle out of court, because this is a matter, she only took to court the comments that were made about her dressing earlier, where the media aide of the Senate president decided to go on Facebook and say, well, all she knows how to do is put pancake on her face and wear transparent clothes to the Senate. She took that there. Defamation was the suit, but she did not take the case of sexual harassment to court. She made a public claim and then submitted a petition to the Senate today, actually. So let's talk about this claim that it would ruin game for others. And I'm not just talking particularly about her. It's we've seen many instances, where women come out to say, well, I've been harassed, or where women will step down from certain positions because they don't want these things to continue and they fear that they would not get any justice at the end of the day. Some women shy away from politics because of what they would have to stomach. And you see some people telling you that decided to go into politics, you should have known now. That is a dirty game. Yeah, exactly. You don't know. You have to give something for something to give something. Your back must touch the ground if you want something. You're not the one that wants to be in politics. So women run away. And for the ones who get there, when the men who speak up are deterring other women from an opportunity to get into.
Regardless of what's going on television, if you're going to run for office, that's the truth. Whether you are good or bad, if your people say they will vote for you and support you, they would. So stop. So all this hula baloo, I don't believe will have any effect on anything. Who will vote for a person will vote for a person, which comes down to community development and to some extent the amount of money you have to support your political ambition, because it is very expensive. And when people think of politics as expensive, I always like to bring their attention back to traditional marriages, burials and all. They are also expensive because of our culture. Somebody dies, they tell you have to go see the youth group, you see the elders group, you give cow to the women group. You see what I mean? So it's what we do with marriage, it's what we do with burials, it's what we do with politics. It's because of who we are. You have a naming ceremony. people come and say, you never wash them, you born picking, you no go wash them, you no go cook. So it becomes expensive to celebrate. You buy a new car or a new dishwasher, or a new sewing machine, and people pass in front of your store and say, Mama, you buy a new machine, you no go wash them, you no go give us drink. Do you see where the expense starts? That's why politics is expensive, not because we're trying to celebrate something. Let's see it from that angle. So I've answered different questions at once. No, it will not have an effect. People's minds will be formed by what we hold of you at the community level.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned bribing your way through things as a norm that we've accepted. In fact, they don't paint into you like you're bribing them. They say you're just like the Yorubas who say you're pouring water on the floor for what you want to do in future. Now, it's also the mindset of we as a people. We live in a society where people don't even think women have it in them to rule in any capacity. And allow me to use the United States as an example. It was Donald Trump running against Kamala Harris, right? It was a convicted felon, a former president who was impeached, I think, or at least they attempted to impeach him twice before they succeeded. And then there's Kamala Harris. Of course, there's no perfect politician. Everybody has their flaws. That if a woman of notable standing and an influencer who is a man, maybe somebody who influences underwear, decides to run for president in this country, if there's anything wrong with that, they just do not think that women have what it takes. How do we begin to prove to people, or at least ask, that they give women a chance and not just rely on perception, which is why perception is something that was in my topic this afternoon, perception and truth. Most people are working with perception. They've been told that women are not supposed to, women are not supposed to, women are not meant to. They've never really given a woman a chance to see if she can. They've been told and they believed it. How do we begin to rework the psyche of the average Nigerian person, that before you judge her capacity, give her a task, see if she can execute it, and then make your judgment? How do we begin to rework that perception and give people a chance to actually source for what the truth is when it comes to women and opportunity in politics?
You asked me a question very similar to this months ago. My answer remains the same. Starts on gender. If we are then honest to self, we will find that there are strong leaders across both gender. So it's that ability to be honest to self that I appeal to all those who are listening. I appeal to it. You have some parents who have daughters that are fantastic leaders. And what the parents end up saying to these daughters are, you should learn how to take care of your home so you can be a good mother and a good wife to your husband. Parents themselves are not even given her opportunity to lead within the family. So it's that education of men, women, fathers, mothers, cousins, brothers, sisters. Right now, where you are, wherever you are in the world listening to this, check around you. Who is leading well? And give them opportunities to lead more. And then say, it's a girl, make we leave them. Women who start leading like this, they become too stubborn at home and they don't make good wives. So from where to where? It's each and every one of us to educate ourselves and own up to this truth.
National Women's Day. Accelerated action is the theme, and we don't just want to talk, we want to do. We want women to do more to show who they translated to leadership. And I'm talking here with Joyce Daniels. We've been able to address quite a number of things, and we've, brought to the fore very important of the Senate president. Also, she has claimed many times that she has been marginalized and she has been shut out by the Senate president. And then she eventually spoke that, she believes the line constantly at the National Assembly. And so we're just trying to open up something about the idea that any woman who has been able to successfully climb the ladder of political success slept her way to my topic. It's just the belief. I'm not even talking about politics. Across board, you see a woman who's the MD of a bank, you see a woman who's the lead doctor at a hospital, or she's leading an organization, or she's even president, or I don't know, something, even women leader. And somebody say, she slept her way to the top. It's not possible. So all these gallant men here, you're telling me that she beats these gallant men fair and square. It's not possible. She must have slept her way to the top. She cannot get there. Where is that perception coming from, first of all? How does it become?
It's small-minded people who cannot think beyond unfounded allegations that can make claims like that. That's one. Two, I bet you the men who propagate such conversations are the same men who try to lure women to bed to give them favors. And if by any chance they conquered any woman that way, they assume that all other women are like that. You down. A small-minded person is a small-minded person is a small-minded person. The women who also support that, once again, show their levels of ignorance, or they themselves have slept with someone to get favor, and so they only see the world through their own lenses, that if anybody got to another level, she must have slept their way through. Or they have been indoctrinated in this.
It's like you had mentioned earlier whilst you were analyzing, we do have a society where men are richer. That's just the truth. Richer, way they have accumulated more wealth. Yes, they have. By all means, go ahead, as long as you don't use that to deter a woman from attempting to get into that particular space. So talk to us about how these socio-economic factors sort of play in women's ability to attain political positions or positions generally. In what ways can we start to empower women such that they're able to also be economically stable enough to compete healthily with their male
of demanding things of people who are trying to get ahead? Until that is done. So you are interested in getting married. You hear some elders for marriage, funerals, politics. Full stop. When and how we're going to change that way of life? Each one tell one, try. There are times I've spoken at organizations where I said, can we stop this behavior of we must worship? You hear somebody buys a vehicle, all the staff gather and say, you bought a car, we must worship. So I said, how about you have the compassion to say, this person just spent so much to get this. How about we buy him a gift of foot mats for the vehicle or something? Why don't we think that way rather than say, if you had money to buy the car, then you should have money to buy drinks for all of us? You see what I mean? So it's not about, I don't want it to be about politics. It's not about politics. It's about our way of life. So if anybody listening to them person is going to demand money of anybody contesting for office, male or female,
system to make that change. And then somebody asked me a question yesterday: do you really think people who benefit from a system will be willing to change it? I had no answer. Not. So since we know what the problems are, and I don't want to say unfortunately, because there are men who actually fight for women's rights. It's from the sagacity of such men who would say, you will not take advantage of her because she's a girl. She can do it, and I vouch for her. And I appreciate such men because they make life worth living to a large extent because of, how much respect they have for women and how much of change what is going on. But again, will these men be willing to tweak a system that benefits them? So if those who we are looking up to make a change are the ones who are the beneficiaries of this disproportionate arrangement, how then can we change it? How do we create a shift? How do we create a balance? How do we allow for people who actually want a change to
as with many women who have run for office or men, very many men also go through these same challenges. And I'm trying to strike a balance. When I ran for office, there were several, I was the only woman among several men. Myself and the other men who didn't win were all in the same boat. So I am trying for us not to see the challenge as only about women. It's bigger than that. When suspected, maybe they're taking on some more funds onto themselves and dealing with powers that they're now drunken by, they would want no one else to get the seat, whether male or female. I want us to also understand that, so we don't gets the issue out of perspective. As much as we're talking about sensitivities to gender and women, which I agree with, we should also know that it is not only limited to us. So if a woman, and now speaking very clearly to any woman who wants to run for office, let your dream and your desire be stronger than your opposition. Do the fundraising like anybody else who runs for office. Yes, there's funds from family and friends, so do the same. Show up. Be clear about your mandate. Make all the noise that is necessary. In business or politics, you need a high level of marketing and selling. So do what is expected, what is required on that until you do. The same Senator Itagiwa won elections 3 times, 4 times. Perhaps at some point we'll win. The same Muhammadu Buhari, I make you run again. It's grueling. It's a lot of work, but it's work that can be done. I would rather leave it, stay focused, and be in the race to win and do what is required to win. As long as it is legal.
Now, I ask this, so that we can put all the cards on the table. Women are great nurturers. In fact, some people might say it's a natural instinct. I don't know about that. Everybody should be able to take care of another person. But yes, the general belief is that women are naturally nurturers. We have the propensity to care for other people. That's why we're mostly domesticated. So what natural qualities do you think women have that can be translated or that can become something of an advantage when it comes to leadership positions, when it comes to politics, when it comes to contributing to greater society?
Generally speaking, I'm trying not to, what's the word now? Well, generally speaking, less confrontational. So we tend to be quicker to resolve issues than men who will allow their egos take them to war. Almost every national issue, I stand by this any day. So many women, like Angela Merkel, the former leader, former chancellor of Germany, there were many times she could go head to head with certain men, and she goes, I have too many things to deal with than to be fighting somebody over egos. Look, let's resolve this and move on. And yes, there are many women like that. Please, I don't want this issue. Let's just move. We have ego as well. It's just that we will rather dwell in harmony with other parts of our lives. Meanwhile, there are many men who are out of harmony but still thrive well in other areas. So that's an anatomical and physiological difference. So the advantage is that we would be quicker to resolve and be not sure that some of us have been told we have. Just like you said, you don't know whether it's true or not. But because it's also in the way we are raised. That's why I said it might not be natural, but it's the way we are nurtured to care for ourselves. We tend to think more of the vulnerable and those who could be left out, which of course now gives us an advantage to look out for the general good of people. I am always careful with these conversations because if we're not careful, we are also falling into the stereotype. So I'm careful with it.
I want to take us back to a question I asked earlier about how we can change the system if those within the system might not be into petition against the Senate president, right? And even the head of the ethics committee, Senator Nada, earlier today, I had thought that I uploaded that audio, but unfortunately I don't have it uploaded. Before that petition was submitted, he had made a comment that there's a level of interpreting to be sexual harassment that this is the head of the ethics committee, the committee that she's supposed to submit her petition to, already putting out. It has been rejected by the Senate Committee on Ethics purely on technical ground that she was not supposed to sign the petition by herself. And so what does this say to you? What does this mean to you?
First of all, it hurts me so much that a system can be so rigged against itself to allow evil reign. And that's not saying that the allegations are true, but it's not giving life to even deal with allegations properly. It's unfortunate. Politics, just like business, is about interest for a lot of people, not everybody. And there are many people in that house that will do anything to protect themselves, their skin, and the next election. They want to win and come back, and they need some sort of support. So I'm not surprised that many people are taking the stand that they are because of whatever. My sister, if we talk this Nigeria problem today, we need to finish them. How can we end Abuja in front of the National Assembly in solidarity to Natasha? Yes, that can put some pressure. A conversation like this on radio, you and I are not clearly taking any stand. We're just asking that the right thing be done. That can add pressure. The more voices of people, fear and the despondence of Nigerians is high. People are struggling with the price of petrol, the price of power, the price of data. They're like, I beg, I don't want to carry another person for my head. Do you understand me? So it's like, I'm tired. I'm dealing with too many issues. My children's school fees have been multiplied. My salary has not increased. Price of food has gone up. So why do I want to now talk about something that's not bringing bread and butter to my table? That's the disposition of a lot of Nigerians. To put Nigerians in a certain state so that we are weakened and not talk back. We are ready and we are able to speak. Please, let's continue to speak and make our voices heard. Perhaps someday, somehow, it will help the system.
Voting, right? We have a largely disproportionate population, and it's to our advantage in a way. We have more women than men, those who come out to vote. We don't really have a lot of women who are interested in the electoral process. They don't care because they already believe that we would be defeated. There's a defeatist mentality that has been inculcated into the mind of the average woman. I'm talking, a woman thinks, if I go out to vote, they will go and do mago at the top anyway. So what's the point? I'm not, God be with you as you embark on this journey. So if we have more women, as in population, if I go and support her, chances are they will manipulate it. How can we start to convince women? How can we encourage more women to stand behind women? Community that believes in them, it gives them the strength to want to stand toe to toe with their male counterparts.
Number one, I will cite very clearly the issue of the Edo State elections, where Edo people are saying to Nigerians, we voted INEC, the police, and APC, and I'm calling it out very clearly, hijacked the election, and our votes did not count. My darling sister, tomorrow, how do you want me to convince those women to come out again? The system has to come clean. The system has to come clean. There has been a decline in general voter turnout since 1999 to date. Why? The trust in the electoral process has generally declined. And yes, we are speaking to women, but I'm saying it across board. Across women, men, youth, and the elderly. There is a across board drop in the number of voters who come out because of the lack of trust in the truth of the elections. When you press your finger here, why do you want to come out the next time? Because the system is doing it to us. Fair elections not being allowed to stand. People stood, counted votes, and then the next thing something else was announced. They are not going to come out tomorrow. So let's start there. Not the women who can afford to run in less known political parties because the barrier to entry nomination forms are, let's say, 3 but the nomination form you pay. And then some other less known. What chance do they stand to get people to vote for an unknown party that has no other candidates in the ecosystem? Do you see what I mean? You want to run for office, you get a party that people don't know, you want to run for local government chair or you want to run for House of Assembly, but there's nobody else in that party running for House of Reps, Senate, governorship, presidency, and people will say, even if I vote you, how are you going to cope when you get in there since you don't have any compatriots in there? My sister, no vex here. Let's go and vote for where we know we can vote for somebody we know and we'll enter the house and stay. You see what I mean? Is it now about gender? No. Because even if another man or a man was to get that same ticket, then people would say to him, we don't go feel win for main election. They typically vote a certain way. Yes, in this place, all of us, they vote umbrella. All of us here, they vote broom. All of us here, they vote Papa, Mama, Pikin. So any other thing they see, they don't. Your dream remains stronger than the opposition that you might face. Because haven't we seen situations where men and women who run on lesser known parties still win? It happens. It's rare, but it can happen.
In leadership roles, do you think that there might be something that would just open the door, something that we can hold on to, something that can be like a beacon of hope to encourage women not to give up? Is there anything that you can use as a support is on the way?
As with anything in life, if we faint not, in due time we will reap. We have more female bank MDs than ever before to get here. The reports show that you are more likely to have a female boss in Nigeria than in anywhere else in the entire world. It took us a long time to get here. If we faint not, someday it will happen in politics. It might take time, but it takes consistency of trust in the system. And now the system clearly, I mean, INEC, the umpire, the police force, and those in authority to do that in politics than in business. That's why we already have experienced more progress in business than in politics. Because politics, interests come in that start maneuvering independent bodies to now become dependent on something. So do I have hope? Yes. Do I have hope? Sometimes, no. For many days, I wake myself up and I say, Joy, we go again. In due time, we will reap if we faint not.
Thank you very much, Joyce Daniel. It's always a pleasure talking to you. It was a very interesting conversation, and I hope that more conversations like this one happens across different strata of our national development so that we can draw awareness to these issues and encourage people to actually support women. Like you said, it's not even sometimes a woman thing, it's just more pronounced, and that's why we're also taking this opportunity to talk about it and lend our voice to this issue. I appreciate you for your strength. I appreciate you for your boldness, right? And, you know, the way you analyze things, and, you know, the honesty and passion with which you discuss these issues make me very happy and also encourages me in a way. You have a wonderful day, and I look forward to more conversations with you. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you, Sage.
Yes.
Bye for now.
Take care, and happy International Women's Day.
And same to you. May we enjoy accelerated action.
A conversation we just had. We spoke about women representation in politics, perception, and truth. What is the general perception and what is the actual truth in the matter? I'm Sage, about aspects that you think within talk about so that we can create an opportunity for deeper dialogue and deeper discourse. It's still Milan 98.3 FM. It's Situation Room. I'll be back so we can continue with conversations. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Spy. C'est la boy bang.
Gender equality is a human rights issue. It is about ensuring that everyone, regardless of their gender, has the same opportunities, rights, and protections. Challenging stereotypes, breaking down barriers, and creating a more inclusive society where everyone is treated with respect and dignity is a collective responsibility. Gender disparities start out small, in homes and communities, and these harmful gender norms progress and are perpetuated at the highest levels. In some countries, they become entrenched in laws and policies that violate the rights of individuals because of their gender. Discriminatory teaching practices and education materials also produce gender gaps in learning and skills development. Let us stand up for gender equality, support each other, and strive for a world where everyone can thrive and reach their full potential.
Fantastic conversations.
Great to see you again. It's good weather. You want to agree with that?
Yeah, I love weather. Trending music.
life that I love. I love the life that I live. Tomorrow.
Traffic updates.
Ojoba and Charity intersections is good. There's no cause for alarm.
Sports. And everything fun is right here on Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch that dial.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Ʀᴏɪᴛᴇʀ M𝗆ɪᴛ as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial.
Standing by, still the Situation Room on Mainland. We're able to talk about and President by Senator Natasha Akpoti, the allegation of sexual harassment, do things the right way. And she did that today. She did submit a formal petition to the Ethics Committee. And before the submission, we had already seen the head of that committee, Senator Nada, on television, right, who was saying that there's a familiarity with interpreted as sexual harassment. And he does not think that the Senate President would sexually harass. Document first and review what she submitted. Sensitivity of issues like this one. This is the third man in the country, and I think that it should be looked at with a fine-tooth comb. Every single detail matters. If a person, by virtue of a technicality, or if an issue by virtue of a technicality of something of this magnitude can be dismissed because of a signature or because somebody signed what they were not supposed to sign or what have you, then what does this say about the future dismissal of serious issues because of technicalities like this one? I'm not on the ethics committee. I don't know what the procedures are, but that is just what has happened. Are we going to see her now proceeding to court, or is she going to accept the position of the committee? We're going to start taking phone calls now, 0913600410, and we're also going to take contributions via WhatsApp, 0913600430. We're live on Facebook where we're streaming the program. You can join us using the live chat option at Mainland 98.3 FM. I want us to listen to the other position of women on this issue. Senator Ʀᴏ did say a lot of things as well. She says, in fact, Senator Natasha is one of the most favorites in the House. You know, she's the princess of the Senate. She had a pre-existing relationship with Senator Akpabio. So, I mean, it's surprising that she would be harassed because Senator Ʀᴏ has never been harassed before, so she's surprised. And I want you to consider these thoughts as you give your analysis on the issue. I'll take a few phone calls. I'll play that soundbite for you and then come back to take contributions. The number again is 09136000410. That is how you reach us if you'd like to contribute to the subject matter. Hello, evening to you.
Good evening.
Yes, welcome.
Yes, this is Ʀᴏ.
Welcome.
My sister, let me tell you, you are more likely to sexually harass somebody that you are familiar with. It's the person that you are familiar with, you play with all the time, that you harass. It's not the people that you don't joke with. So when they say that they have had a relationship before or have been playing with themselves, where does it lead us to? And let me tell you, the ethics committee and all those people there, They are there to line their own pockets. And they will not do anything to hurt their boss. You know that a public can transfer them to another committee that is not juicy. So they are trying to be careful with that. And added to the fact that Akpabio is a good boy to the president. So they are just being careful. They are being careful because it's a good boy to the president. They will never want to hurt him. If they hurt him, by implication they are hurting the president. They will never do that. So just dot the eyes. And you know where I'm going to. The lady, Senator Natasha, I'll tell her that her case is as good as get on the delivery because they will never entertain it. No matter what she has there, they will not accept it.
Thank you so much for calling. Have a great day. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Is that Sage?
Yes, it is Sage. Good afternoon.
Okay, this is Gis. I'm calling from very close to Yaba Tokyo. Yeah. You see, I listened to the program and I was pained. And you know why I was pained?
Why?
It's because it showed me that these issues are sometimes supported even by women. You see, like I as a guy, when I was in school, I've had recourse due to activism and the like. I've had recourse to deal with issues that are similar to something like this. You know, you don't want to do this, you don't get this grade and blah blah blah. And you see women be like, what is there now? So you get. So I tell people that these politicians don't waste Nigeria sometimes. Someone is coming on national TV and telling us that if you get to a certain level, you will not face sexual harassment again. You know, I have to get age and expiring date. I don't understand. So it's even painful that even females are able to stand up for females, and the same thing we said sometimes females are even the enemies of female activism. So it's so painful. Have a good day, my sister.
You have a better day. Thank you so very much. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon to you.
Babalola, good evening.
Evening.
Yeah, Alabama personally.
Welcome.
Babalola, it's quite unfortunate if the people that we say to be our leaders are playing this kind of marrow game within themselves. Please, what lesson are they want the ordinary Nigerians to be learning from them? You be thief, I no be thief. You be amoroba, I no be amoroba. Look, let me tell you something. If that story of Natasha now come into force, I don't think any Nigeria will take any female Nigerian representative serious anymore. Even if any Nigerian female campaign to them that he or she want to become one thing or they should vote for her, I don't think they will take her serious. If this issue, this story that is going on become false, that's why I want to beg you females, especially those of you that have power on the radio to talk on TV now, should please be doing the investigative journalism yourself. Find out if the story is true or lie, so that you can tell the ordinary Nigerians like us the real force. Let me tell you something. I have a blood in the Senate. She never for one day come back to the house to us and be telling us that, oh, this is what is going on, this kind of something, or any man has embarrassed to that length. So I want you, to come together and do the investigation by yourself. But if the story become true lies, I will lie to you. No female, to me, no female will even campaign to my side, and I will take her because I will tell her that this is what. Don't forget, we have had the kind of Natasha, the first woman that became a House of Rep speaker. What ended? So if Nigerian female, you can get yourself order together and be serious for once. Good evening.
All right. Thank you for your thoughts. Hello. 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 Oh.
Hello.
Yes. Good evening. Oh, please call back. We're having a hard time hearing you. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. I listened to this program this evening.
Yes.
Did you see where the husband and the Natasha, the senator, were kissing each other? You know that she's from a lovely home. Somebody should go and protect them. Why should somebody, your friend, you are holding the right hand and you are walking, come and see my room, come and see here, come and see here, so that we have quality time together. Is that a good point? Thank God it's a better man. It's only in what comes with.
kiss one before I enter. Stop this happening.
Thank you very much for calling. Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
But Natasha, I think this is making a lot of news. For me, the matter is court. And when you take the matter to court, you go to public opinion, you go to the television house. Yes, if you have a very concrete evidence, if you have nothing, pity her. But if this man is involved, I think, at the end of the day, whether he steps down or I don't know what all the issues, but this woman was have a complete extent. That's what I'm saying. This is precise speaking.
Okay. Hello. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, evening to you.
This is Matthew from Sīᴛᴜᴜ.
Okay.
Yes. What actually baffles me is that I heard that they were family friends too. Now they know each other.
Yes.
The family of the Senate President and Natasha were friends.
Yes.
But they know each other very well. How can this happen? They've been having a lot of time together, showing their marriage and many things. That's what I heard, and I don't know why that can happen. How can that happen? When Natasha knows Akpabio's wife, Akpabio's knows her husband, know each other. How can that happen? That's what baffles me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, Comrade Kopoko actually already gave us the answer to that, and it's the truth. Most assault happens by family members and people close to you. That's the percentage of assault that goes on. The higher percentage of assaults that happen are usually perpetrated by family members or people that are close to you. So a pre-existing relationship with a person does not in any way absorb or makes sexual harassment an inconceivable thought. Just because, oh, he's my friend of 10 years, he would never do such, or she's my friend of 10 years, she would never assault me or harass me sexually. It's not the truth. The evidence actually suggests that most assault, most harassment happens by people that are closer to you. You can read the statistics up. Hello.
Good afternoon. Yes, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I don't see why somebody should call and say they will never give women chance. I thought democracy is by choice of the people. These are part of the problems that we have. One of the senators who was saying that they will not give women chance again. If this country is a country when it comes to voting, that one man will come and be saying they will not give women chance. If we have 50 and credible elections, I don't think that can happen. Another one said that Natasha Akpoti had 6 children for 2, harassing, shouting down on the person. I don't give her respect. And I keep on saying this is not the first case. The MD of NDDC, former MD, said she slapped him. Why? Every time you just see women, you begin to harass them. And if evidence is talking, I don't know where they want to get evidence. Was there any video out? I don't think Natasha will just come and they are playing.
Same treatment for more than today. They were protesting earlier today, right? Some were saying, oh, Akpabio should step down, and some are saying, you should give voice to Senator Natasha. But the security operatives have been able to restore some level of normalcy following that protest. Yes. James Owachobuna says, Sage, let me greet you profoundly this evening. On Senator Natasha's case, I will not say her allegation is a lie or is the truth, but let justice be done. Senator Akpabio should step aside while an independent investigation is carried out so that he will not tamper with the investigation. I'm really disappointed in that senator who was yelling in the interview. Senator Natasha should also sue that man for character defamation. Sage, at this point, I think I want to believe Senator Natasha's allegation. The question that Akpabio supporters have not answered is, what if her allegation is true? Should we jettison it because some people don't like her or see her as somebody with a character flaw? James Obuna from Oshodi. There's another one here. Hold on. Okay, let's just go back to taking phone calls. Hello.
Hello, is it?
Yes, it is Sage. Good evening.
Yeah, I'm calling back. Yeah, because of the network.
Yes.
Yeah, your voice, I've said it for he said that we are nonchalant to these issues. And the person is very seriously in that line. We say, how does it bring the to our she knows something. Indirectly, they have poverty. So because, to be nonchalant to all these issues, look at what's happening in one of the universities. I think it is not that man, there was a camera and there was a video evidence. A woman will have gone scot-free. His daddy is a worker in the university. And everything is just modeled.
Thank you.
But one thing I want to say is that government is peace. People that surround the president of our president, the president of the Senate, the president, the chairman of the party, that's the candidate, and still this week, the three of them, they can never give him good advice. They having a lot of pieces. The issue of the dollar of the candidate.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's give others a chance to speak as well. Hello.
Good evening, my sister.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, I greet everybody who is listening.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is okay. When I heard this, I was very, very ashamed. Very, very ashamed. As if I was the one that is saying this or that did this. If actually, I don't do the both of them, none of them are believable. Whether Natasha is saying this or whether Pablo is saying this, I don't know. But why will this kind of thing come out that people will hear from females to hear it? Okay, Natasha, why don't you confront the wife and tell the wife that look at what your husband is doing or saying?
Okay.
Now, wisely, the whole world is hearing what you are saying. And whether it is true or not, you see, in other way than if they are doing that, what is the reason, or that is the reason why the country is like this, because they are doing those kind of things. So nothing will work for us.
Thank you very much for calling. On Facebook, we have Hello Mainland FM. It's unfortunate that our leaders in authority have always handled the issue of sexual harassment or girl, child and women with levity. If not, how can a senator allege that the Senate president sexually harassed her and no one seems to see it as a big deal, where the petition she presented before the Senate, as far as I'm concerned, is dead on arrival? I see all these things as nothing but intimidation of the highest order, which is another political strategy of sending women away from politics. The case should be thoroughly investigated because the women also have a right to occupy a political position. God bless Nigeria. Tᴜɪ̀ᴜ Mṛotoye from Ijagemo community. We have Ifeoma Francis who says, these APC supporters, the way they think is weird. What Natasha has done in the assembly floor will garner more women to join politics. Natasha is saying no to sexual harassment in office. Enough is enough. All right, thank you very much. Now, somebody also had mentioned that when the Senate president initially made the nightclub comment, if you remember, she had raised a motion one time and the Senate president has said, well, please, this is not a nightclub. He went on the next day to apologize and she accepted the apology, right? But she came out during the interview on Arise TV and said she was coerced into accepting that apology. She got a call early apology. I'm going to close the conversation with that soundbite and then of course we are going to take a break, a commercial break, and we still have sports coming up. We have a ladies lounge coming up as well. But as I begin to close the conversation, I would leave you with the comments that Natasha had made when people asked her that when he offended you the first time and he apologized, you accepted the apology and you seemed very okay. But she revealed that, well, she accepted it because she was coerced into accepting that apology and she never really did it out of the kindness of her heart. So after that soundbite, of course, you have the news at 5:30, you'd have commercials, you'd have the sports crew come on board, and then ladies lounge. My name is Sage Babalola. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Don't go anywhere. We still have a lot of interesting shows coming your way.
It was 14 minutes past midnight when my phone rang. The leader of the House called me, Senator Michael Bamidele Opeyemi called me, and he said, you know, in the wake of all of this rancor, if the Senate president goes down, I will go down too. And And I said, what do you mean, sir? At that point, I woke my husband up because he had fallen asleep before me. I said, are you calling me to threaten me? I could hear murmurs from the Senate President. I could hear the Senate President's voice at the background because I could tell he was on speakerphone. He said, no, I'm just telling you that, you know, there's a whole lot of attack on the Senate President, and if things go down, if he resigns or something happens, I should know that I'm going to be held responsible, and I also go down. At that point, I started shouting. I was like, you can't call me at midnight and threaten me, sir. Then my phone rang again at 26 minutes past midnight that same day. And then it was the same call, Senator 괡ɪᴛᴇ's line.